All right, let's break down what looks to be a massive game week 14 in the Premier League. We're jumping straight into the predictions from the end-to-end football reactions channel, who've gone deep on team form, momentum, and everything in between to call these huge matchups.
And we're kicking things off with that exact same energy. This is the straight-up, no-filter look at what could be a really pivotal weekend of football. So let's get into it.
First up, we're zoning in on the teams at the very top. You know, the ones with absolutely everything to play for, where every single point could be the difference in the title race. The pressure is seriously on.
Kicking us off is a real classic clash of styles. You've got Fulham's famous fighting spirit at home against the just sheer power of Manchester City. So the big question is, can a fired-up crowd at Craven Cottage actually stop a team that has this much quality and movement?
The final call here is a pretty decisive 3-1 away win for City. Now the thinking is that Fulham's home advantage will be enough for them to snag a goal, but City's overall class is just going to be way too much to handle for a full 90 minutes.
And this quote, it really just says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just about predicting a win, it's a statement about how untouchable City look at the moment. Like they said, right now, they're just different.
Okay, let's talk about the next title contender, Arsenal, who are facing a completely different kind of test. Brentford, you know, they're super organized, they're physical, and they are always a threat on set pieces. But Arsenal at the Emirates is being called a machine.
And yeah, the prediction totally reflects that home strength. A clean, comfortable 2-0 win for the Gunners. This one isn't expected to be some nail-biter. That scoreline suggests complete control from start to finish.
But what's really interesting here is how they're expected to win. This isn't going to be some chaotic end-to-end game. No, the prediction is for a slow, methodical masterclass. Arsenal will just control the ball, stay patient, and eventually they'll find the crack in Brentford's defense.
All right, let's shift gears a bit and look at a really fascinating part of the table, that intense fight for the European spots. I mean, these are the kinds of games that can make or break a team's entire season.
Now, this next one has been called a spicy one, and you can totally see why. You've got the wild, high-octane atmosphere of Elland Road clashing with a Chelsea side that has the speed and creativity to absolutely punish any team on the break.
So, how's this spicy one going to end? The prediction is a very narrow 2-1 win for Chelsea. It suggests they'll survive that hostile atmosphere, but only just, squeaking by with a victory on the road.
Yeah, the big takeaway here is that nobody thinks this will be a walk in the park for Chelsea. Leeds are going to make it a real battle, but the belief is that Chelsea's extra bit of quality will, in the end, be just enough to decide a really tight match.
Okay, next up, another team with an intense home crowd, Newcastle. They are always a force at St. James's Park, and they're up against a Tottenham team that has this huge question mark hanging over its defense, which, let's be honest, still looks pretty vulnerable.
And that shaky defense is exactly why the prediction is a 2-1 home win. The thinking is that Newcastle are going to exploit those weaknesses and walk away with all 3 points in what should be a really close game.
And listen, it's not just about tactics. The winning formula here is that combo of Newcastle's on-field intensity, which gets supercharged by that incredible home crowd. That whole mix of energy and atmosphere is expected to be just too much for Spurs to handle.
Oh, this one is a tactician's dream. You've got Brighton, who play this beautiful, possession-heavy style of football, but that style always leaves space in behind. And the problem for them? They're playing one of the deadliest counter-attacking teams in the league, Aston Villa.
And, well, the prediction follows that tactical logic to a T, a 2-1 win for Aston Villa. Their style of play just seems like the perfect kryptonite for Brighton's. The belief is that those lightning-fast counters are going to be the difference maker.
And look, this is expected to be a really entertaining game, a proper football match, as they say, but when it comes down to it, the prediction leans towards Villa. Their sharp, clinical play on the break is what's tipped to win them the day.
All right, let's dive into the engine room of the Premier League table. You know, these are the games where one result can cause a huge swing in momentum and league position. They're just as crucial.
Okay, time for a rapid-fire round for these mid-table clashes. First up, Bournemouth are back to beat Everton 2-1, mainly because of their attacking energy at home. Next, we've got a couple of draws on the board. Burnley's fighting spirit is expected to get them a 1-1 against a pretty inconsistent Crystal Palace. And finally, the Wolves-Forest game is also being called as a 1-1 draw. It's a safe pick because, honestly, both teams just seem to be missing that little something extra to grab all 3 points.
So, now that we've gone through every single fixture, What does the whole game week look like when we take a step back? Let's get the final verdict.
Looking at the big picture, it's actually perfectly balanced. We've got predictions for 3 home wins, 3 away wins, and 2 games ending in a draw. This suggests there really isn't a clear advantage for anyone this weekend, which sets us up for a bunch of really competitive, hard-fought matches all across the league.
So there you have it. That's the full breakdown of the Game Week 14 predictions. The analysis is there, the scores have been called. The only question left is, where did they get it wrong? Which one of these predictions do you think is way off?